Oh. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the call. We're excited to be here. I'm very excited to introduce our special guest, Ryan Smith, coming to us from Canada. And he's going to share with us his system for lead gen that is very introvert friendly. So we'll be very conversational. This is not a full-on class, but Ryan, if you want to tell us a little about what's worked for you, and then everyone else, please ask questions and let's make this as interactive and fun as we can. So Ryan, take it away. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, I'll give you my quick backstory, explain who I am and how I got here, and kind of give you the rundown of what I do. So my name is Ryan Smith. I'm a licensed agent. I've been in the business for going on 17 years next year, or next month will be 17 years for me. So I got started, and there's kind of a theme of love in my life, in my real estate career. I got out of a relationship. I kind of wanted a fresh start. I packed up and moved 3.5 hours away, and I just got my license. I was 25 years old. I didn't know anyone other than my aunt and uncles that lived up there. They lived in cottage country, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to just kind of sell up in cottage country. And I moved to an area as an introvert, didn't know anyone, and business was tough. I didn't have a lot of experience. I didn't have the connection. I didn't have a sphere. I really had to learn the business from scratch. And thankfully, I joined a team that was marketing heavy and was very intelligent. We did a lot of direct response marketing, and it really helped me understand human psychology, how to get people to take action without having to go out and sell yourself. I wasn't a big person on doing just cold calls and the typical methods. So I did that for a couple of years. I met someone. I moved about an hour and a half away, started my business all over again. I started from scratch, and I had to learn how to do the business again in a brand new area with no real connections. Then I was there for a few years. That relationship didn't last a couple of years, and then my mom got sick, and I was driving back and forth to go see my parents on the weekends, and I did that for a couple of years, and then I realized I wanted to be closer to my family, so I moved back again, started all over again, and then about 3.5 years ago, we moved back to my hometown. So with my partner and I, we moved back, and her and I run our business down here. So all of that to say, I've had to learn the business from scratch and really restart things over and over again. And throughout the years, I learned different things. I learned different strategies. And one of the things that kept coming up was geographic farming. And I had tried farming in the past, and I had done farming the way other agents had done farming, and I had failed miserably. And it wasn't until I took on the role as a productivity coach, in my brokerage I'm at now, but when I first moved there, that I really, really started to understand how it worked and how to do it at a higher rate. So I doubled down on learning how to do that, and I started my own geographic farm with a business partner, and we launched that in September, and we got our first listing appointment in December. We took the listing in January, and over the next 15 months, we did 17 transactions in an area that I had no experience, no sales in. I was really new to that, but I learned how to do farming in a different way and in a very introvert friendly way, and that really helped shape what I do. So now I help other agents do geographic farming and learn to do farming in a more kind of holistic way and in a way that aligns with agents' skills and talents and what they want to do. And I help other agents really master geographic farming in a modern way. So that's me in a nutshell. So if you want to
I love
jump in
that
and ask.
background. It's so important to find something that works well for you. And I want to tell everyone listening that just because something works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and vice versa. You might come up with your own thing that no one's ever heard of, and it's great. And then you can go teach other people how to do it. So there's all the possibilities. But part of learning is hearing what is working for other people. And
Yeah,
then if that sounds fun and interesting to you and like something you can stick with, then give it a shot because it is a proven system. So tell
exactly.
us a rundown of what the system is.
So yeah, it comes down to a couple of key core things that I teach, and I use that as kind of the base principle of what it is we do, and then how agents can start to build off of that. So it comes down to really understanding first what farming truly is. So when I ask agents what farming is, I ask almost at every time I do a training, I ask what agents think of when they hear farming, and most agents, their belief on farming is that it's sending out a bunch of postcards. And that is a traditional belief on what farming is. And the reality is, farming itself is not just sending postcards. That is a strategy that can be used. It's not always the best strategy or the strategy that I recommend. So most agents, their first thought is it's just sending out postcards. And when I've asked agents, they say they've tried farming, they say they tried sending out a bunch of postcards. But really, I start with distilling down what at its core farming is. So for me, I have a thing I call CPR, and it's the real foundation of what farming, I believe, should be and really creates success in farming. And I have a podcast, and I've had a couple podcasts, and I've talked to agents all over, and I started seeing themes in agents' businesses that were really succeeding at high levels. And I wanted to see what was it that these agents had that other agents didn't have. And I started noticing certain trends, and that's where the CPR came from. And the agents that were doing well, whether they knew they were doing this or not, really had these three key things in place. The first was community, which is the C. The agents who put the community first and were community focused had much better businesses than agents who were transactionally focused. A lot of agents are out there and they're transactionally focused and they can have a great business, but the ones who thrived and had long sustaining businesses were very community focused. And that is one of the first steps I always suggest that agents do is think about how you can shift your attention from bragging about yourself or how great you are or the home you just sold and shift to a community focus. And when you understand this whole process, which I'll explain in a minute, you can unlock even more opportunities and more strategies. So that's the first thing. The second thing is positioning. And the agents who did really well were learning how to position themselves effectively to their community. And there's kind of three key things that you want to do this, or three ways you do this. The first is we need to be seen, and I call it the eyes. So you have to be seen in your area. So you have to have a way to get in front of people, have people know who you are, and be seen. And now, again, traditionally, that's people would send out postcards and hope that someone would remember them. But that's not the best way to do that. So we have to be seen, though. We have to understand how to do that. The second step of the positioning is learning to position yourself as an expert. So there's a lot of different strategies you can do and things you can do to position yourself as an expert in the community. And the better you position yourself and the stronger you position yourself, the much more likely people are going to want to do business with you. I can go into details on how we did that, but then how agents could do that. But one of the things that we did was we branded ourselves around the neighborhood rather than myself. So it wasn't about me. Again, I'm an introvert. I didn't want it to be all about me and my face and my name. And I branded around the neighborhood that we farmed. So we called it the Orchard Real Estate Team. So right out of the gate, people saw us as someone who was an expert in the community. We branded ourselves as the specialist in the area, and that allowed us to stand out. There's a lot of other things we did and other things you can do to become an expert, but the key thing is really positioning yourself as that expert. And then the third part of the position is positioning yourself as an ambassador for the community, and that ties into the community. So being community focused, now what we want to do is become that expert and the ambassador. So we are championing causes, we're fighting for the community, we're being the resource that the community needs us to be, and we're able to position ourselves in a way that really stands out and creates a ton of value, and people are going to connect with on a whole different level. And when you do that and you get the positioning part right, it then leads into the relationship part, which is the R on CPR. And the relationship is really the ultimate goal. It's the lifeblood of what we do. And this is the part that agents miss for a lot of opportunities because they are focused on the transaction and not the relationship first. So I always say that our goal should be the relationship, and the byproduct happens to be the transaction. So our goal should be strengthening the relationships we have and gaining new relationships. And when we understand that and we put that into the framework or the context of farming, it allows us to create a lot more opportunities and connect with people on a whole different level. Then it's a matter of, okay, now what strategies do I layer on top of that? How do I achieve those goals and understanding that? But at the end of the day, I teach geographic farming, which is geographically focused in your attention, but you can farm demographics, sociographics, your database, you can farm FISBOs, but what I teach is geographic farming. So it's how to become that expert in your neighborhood or the community that you're focusing on and being that go-to resource. And when you do that and you learn with the CPR, that's when the possibilities become endless. So that's the core foundation that we can dive into whatever direction you want to take it. And I can layer on how do you do the strategies or how do you choose a farm and things like that. I'm open to anything.
Yeah, let's open it up for more specific questions to kind of guide our conversation. I can jump in and ask, but I'd love to hear from some others on the call. What questions do you have around this off the bat? Feel free to come on off mute, or if you're more comfortable, you can stay in the chat.
And if you have the question, I can guarantee you everyone's had them. I've
Yes.
got the same questions all the time.
I'll go. Ryan,
Sure.
so you went to a brand new community and then you said you closed, was it 17 in the first year?
Yep, in 15 months. Yep.
How did you create those relationships so quickly to where you were able to develop those sales? Like,
Perfect.
I mean, I have
Yep.
tons of relationships and I'm in contact and I'm in community with those relationships on a monthly basis. Um, but those the relationships I have developed over time, and I've been in the business for 21 years, by the way. So I do have a pretty large database already,
Mhm.
but I'm still always looking to grow my business and I'm always open and interested in new ideas of what people are doing.
Perfect. So I'll back it up first, explain kind of the foundation piece, and then I'll answer that question. So one of the mistakes that agents make when it comes to farming is that they think that farming is about getting your name out there. And this is the mistake that almost every agent makes when it comes to farming. They believe that it's if I just get my name out there to enough people, if I just tell people about myself, if I just get my name out there that on a postcard, or on a billboard, or on a park bench, that people will remember my name. And the reality is that is one of the strategies that takes a long time. If you've ever heard, if you've been around the business a long time, most people have been told that it takes 18 months to 2 years to really get results in farming. And that's one of those myths that I wanted to bust and bust very quickly because I knew that there's better opportunities than just sitting around waiting, hoping someone remembers your name. So one of the things that we do and our focus is really our farm becomes the area that we're farming is the funnel for our real farm. And the real farm is the database of the people that we've gotten to put their hand up. So one of the things that I teach agents is how do you get people to put their hand up and how do you get permission from them so that you can follow up with them. So rather than force your message down someone's throat, rather than just keep pushing your message and hope that someone responds, what we want is people that want to hear from us. And this is the first step in creating great marketing is really understanding permission. And if you've ever read the book, it's Permission Marketing by Seth Godin, one of the best books you can ever read. It really flips real estate marketing on its head because most people have been taught to just say, just keep pushing your message, and then someone's going to remember you. By switching that to getting permission, now we have a reason and a wanting party on the other end of it. So one of the things that we did was we created a neighborhood report. So we called it the Orchard Real Estate Report, and we sent out a monthly report each month. And what we did was we had a binder. I don't have it here, but I had a binder from the dollar store. Looked kind of like, actually, I think I have an older version of the cover here. Yeah, this is an older version. So we had a cover page that looked like this. We had a binder that looked like this. We put the cover in there, and then we would put our report into the binder. So what we did was, if anyone's ever taken Bold with Keller Williams, this is where I kind of got the idea from. If you've been there, you know that you first week you get a binder and you get your first week's stuff, and then next week you come back, you get your next week's stuff, and each week you come back over the 8 weeks, you get your information and it fills up your binder. So what I thought was, why don't I create something where people are going to hold on to it and they're going to keep that information, and then each month we can stack on top of that, and that will incentivize them to hold on to it. So what we did was we went out to the neighborhood, we door knocked the neighborhood, which is unintrovert like. Took a lot of mental aptitude or fortitude to do that. But once we did that, we realized there was a certain number of percentage of people that were going to put their hand up every time we speak with them, and we had that down to a science. So we got that down, and we ended up getting about 12% of the people. So we ended up having about 450 people getting our monthly report, and that report is really what kickstarted what we were doing. A lot of it was the branding, but a lot of it was we were being the expert in the area. We were providing value each month. We were showing up each month with a new report, and we were putting in their calls to action that would get people to put their hand up. And we were connecting and collecting information from people that allowed us to really strengthen those relationships. So that was the real kickstart. Then we started getting involved in some community events and sponsoring things and getting actively involved in social media and things like that. But the real moneymaker for us was the report. And that really helped elevate it. And that is what sped up the process. And because we positioned ourselves as the expert and we were showing that we knew what we were talking about, people were drawn to us and wanted to work with us, and that's how we cracked that market. With again, we had zero sales in that neighborhood before that. So does that give you a little bit of an idea?
Yeah, that helped. Thank you.
So that's one strategy. There's a lot of different things you can do. We can dive into other strategies that you can do. That's what we did. That was about 10 years ago when we did that. So door knocking is serious anxiety. Yes, but here's the thing: when you do door knocking coming from value, it really changes things. So my partner Nikki, she does door knocking for our business, and she's also an introvert as well. And it created some anxiety at first for her, and she'll share with you when before she met me and when she got into the real estate business, she would literally go out and sit in her car and cry before she'd go out there. She wouldn't do it. She'd intend to do it. Her experience around door knocking, and a lot of agents' experiences around door knocking is going there looking for business. And when you shift your perspective on how you do that and why, it changes the results at the door. I'm an introvert. I'm not a person who loves to mingle and things like that, but the report changes the dynamics at the door, and the conversions are through the roof. So I teach this to agents, and most agents get between about 25 and 35% of the people that they speak with will sign up. Nikki has now mastered it and really polished it. She's incredible at it. Last year, her conversion rate was 48% at the door. She just broke 50% for this year. So she's got it down to a science where she knows how to have the conversation. She knows how to provide value. She shows the value because we have a number of people getting the report. And it allows people to connect with her and not have the pressure on her to try to sell them something. She's just saying, hey, we've got this awesome thing. Do you want it? And it changes people's perspectives and it allows you to really stand out and be different than most agents because most agents are showing up saying, list with me, sell with me, are you making a move? And they're coming from that sales perspective. It completely changes the interactions at the door and it really allows conversations to flow naturally and it can absolutely change that. Now, you don't have to door knock it, but that is a quick and easy way and a very effective way to do that. You can do other strategies to get people on the report as well, but that's just a great way to get results quickly. And you asked how to get results quickly. That's something you might have to overcome if you want to get those results quickly because it does get results. So hopefully that helps.
That's awesome. Thank you. Jennifer has her hand up.
Go for it.
Hi, thank you. Well, I was going to ask what would be one of the first things you would do, and it sounds like that what you just told us was the first thing. Did you give people binders to put things in, or did you?
Yep.
You did.
Yeah, we cleared out. We went to all the dollar stores in our area,
Okay.
and
Oh, I
we
missed
just
that part.
we cleared them up. So we bought boxes and boxes of them, and
Okay.
we were like the binder guys, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're here for more binders," and we just kept buying them up. And prices have gone up a little bit. I think when we were buying them, they were about 250. Now you can get now. I'm in Canada, it might be a bit different down there.
Oh,
Now they're about
that's
four
great.
bucks for the binders, so it's not that expensive to do it. And then what we would do is we'd have everything pre-printed. Everything was hole punched, ready to go. We would the first binder we would drop off the binder itself, and then each month it was just in an envelope. We had a like
Okay.
the manila envelope, and we had a stamp that we had with our logo on it. So we stamped that with our brand on there. The other thing that we did that really helped set us apart was again was we brand ourselves around the community, and then
Hmm.
we put our branding. So we had jackets and hats and t-shirt or shirts that had our branding on there. So it helped build that credibility and trust right out of the gate. And another thing that we did, which was really important, was we knew everything about the community we could. We learned about the schools, the parks, the area sales. We knew who the builders were. We got our hands on as many of the floor plans as we could, so we could tell you this was a Empire model. That's a 1,536 square feet. That's a elevation B, and we learned everything we could so that we could position ourselves as that expert. And when we walk into an appointment and we had the floor plans, and the house was 17 years old, and we have their floor plan, they're like, "Wow, this is really different than most agents." So we position ourselves as experts right out of the gate, and that really made a huge difference. And that helped create the momentum to keep going. So,
Great. Thank you.
yeah, great question. Any other questions on that? Like, happy to dive in deeper if you want. So,
I did see
but
one question in the chat that you might have answered already, but Karen asked, are you doing emails, mailers, calls? It sounds like it's primarily door knocking. And is there anything that's sent through the mail? Are there additional touches in different ways?
so that's just one strategy that we teach. One of the big things I'm a big believer in is video, and again, that's another thing that makes people nervous. But one of the things that we did was we switched to interviewing local businesses. So rather than you trying to be the center of the attention, put the attention on the other people. And so one of the things I strongly recommend is interviewing local businesses. You can do quick 2 3 minute videos. Just do very simple who, what, where, when, why, and how. Like who are you? What is it you do? How can people find out about you? Why are you different? What is it that you do different than other people? And you can ask these questions, create these videos, and now you can use that to get in front of their audience. And this is a great way to exponentially and very quickly grow your reach and get in front of more people. And it's very powerful because for a number of reasons. One is you have content that you can share with your audience. And that's, if you just did it for that reason alone, that's worth it. The second reason is building relationships with the local businesses themselves is very powerful. They're they have clients, they have friends, they have family, they have themselves that might be able to do business with you. But then the real magic happens is we ask them to share it with their audience. So we say, hey, we're going to do a video. There's no cost to you. All we ask is that you share it with your audience once we're done as well. And when you do that, now you're going to reach a whole new demographic of people. So we just did a video for there's a like a cafe. They do candy. They do like freeze dried candy and like fun stuff. Very cool, like hip cafe thing, and very cool. They're just down the street from us. Very well connected. She's incredibly connected in the community. We recorded that video, we shared it, and then we did a contest so people could win a $25 gift card to the shop. And she shared it with her audience. We shared it. I think it got shared 20 plus times in the community. And the last time I checked, we had, I think it was like 1,700 views on that video. That was just in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So what happens is you now get to reach more people very quickly. That's a great way to really get into your community very effectively, very cost effectively, and from a time perspective. And then the fourth part of that, and why it's so powerful, is it positions you as that expert and the ambassador for the community, because now you're seen as the person who is bringing the community together. You're the one who's bringing the businesses together. You're sharing that. And then what happens is you get the trust of the community. You get the trust of the person that you're interviewing, and it helps build even more credibility. And I use Joe Rogan, Oprah Winfrey, Larry King as examples, is they're experts, experts at bringing on expert guests, and that helps build their trust and credibility, and people will connect and resonate with them. So when you interview local businesses, you're now able to get in front of more people. So that's one thing you could do. Another big thing I'm a firm believer in is getting involved in local Facebook groups and getting active in there, either running your own or just being involved in local Facebook groups. The reason why this is so powerful is because you're able to jump into conversations. You can create conversations. You can listen in on conversations. There's people asking questions. There's people sharing information. And it's one of the most powerful things that you can do because it's literally in real time, people having conversations about your community. So you're able to connect with people on that relationship level and create a lot of value that way. And then another big thing that we do, which is what I talked about in the book, is community events and giving back. So we're big believers on supporting community causes, giving back to the community. So we recently did, this is our third year doing it. We did a food drive for a community, which is what we talk about in the book. And we added 40 plus people to the database. We also had about 40 people that were already in our database that participated in it. So we had almost 90 people that participated in the food drive. We ended up getting bronchitis in the middle of it. So we ended up not, we did about half as much as we could have done it. Took a couple days of prep time, a couple days of organizing it, and we do a porch pickup style food drive. So we get the community to donate the food. We ended up raising 1,200 pounds of food. So we have multiple touch points and reasons to stay in touch with people. We have a cause we can now support. We have stuff we can use in our social media, and we were able to make an impact in our community. And that was super valuable. When Nikki did that, she ended up getting 2 appointments from just from that alone. When we go out and she is door knocking, it becomes very easy to connect with people because all she has to say is, oh, you might know us. We're the ones that do the food drive or we do the community garage sale. And that allows us to connect to the community and have people connect us to that and not just, oh, you're another real estate agent. So that is another big differentiator. As far as postcards, one of the things that we believe in, and myself, is when it comes to postcards, use the postcard as a way to get people into your world and not just trying to get your message out there. So we use the postcard for our door knocking, but it really is not even the magical piece of it. It's the door knocking itself that's going to get you a higher conversion. So we do postcards, we print them off for our reports, but we double up with other lead generation things as well. So like we've got an open house coming up for our listing that just came on yesterday. So we have that we'll have the open house on one of the sides of the postcard and then the report on the other side. So we'll go door knock and let people know about the open house and then ask if they want the report. Or we'll have an event and we'll have a home evaluation on one side, or we'll have something else going on and we tie it into our lead generation or our database gathering stuff. So combining those things will help. I'm not a believer in sending a postcard after postcard after postcard after postcard because it's very cost ineffective. It's not very effective long term. It doesn't get the results that most people want, and it can take a lot longer to get those results. So that's a few different things you can do. There's a ton of different strategies. It's learning what's going to work well for you, and then layering the right strategies in.
Yeah, I like that concept of layering. Let's take one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Jennifer, what you got?
What is the conversation like when you're approaching businesses to do the interviews with them? I've done a few, but with people I actually know. But then I've sort of felt awkward about approaching businesses that I like, but that I don't
Yep.
really have a relationship with the owners?
That's a great question. And it's actually quite simple. It's simply, especially if you've done them before, once you have a couple, it's easy. It's just say, hey, we're whatever your team is or whatever your name is, whatever. We're doing some local business interviews. We wanted to highlight local gems in the community, and we do a quick video interview. We'd love to interview you for a video series. Just takes a few minutes. Ask a couple questions, and then we share it with our community. Help you get some more exposure to the community, and it helps our community grow and get to know you as well. There's no cost, no obligation, and we'd love to have you on. Super simple, straightforward. If you have some examples, you can say, hey, we've got a few examples. Or you could, if you've been doing it regularly, you just say like, hey, you might have seen our videos. We interviewed so and so and so and so. And then really becomes, can you ask for some connections as well? Because a lot of small businesses have friends who are small business owners as well. And they'll say like, oh, you should interview so and so. You should talk to so and so. And then it just starts that chain reaction. So it's keep it about them. Keep it about the value that you can bring to them. And that's really going to help you open more doors, and they're gonna see the value in it, and just say, hey, there's no cost. And sometimes people are nervous, and you just say, hey, we're just asking some simple questions. We'll give you the questions ahead of time so you know exactly what we're gonna ask you. It's pretty straightforward. So it's easy once you get over it and just kind of keep doing it. So great
Thank you.
question.
Are you on the person interviewing? Are you on the camera as well, or is it just the person that you're?
You can do it off camera, but we tend to do both. So we'll stand kind of side by side on an angle, and then we'll just kind of switch and say, ask a question. The nice thing with this is, again, you don't have to really have to come up with content. You just have your questions, and you
Mhm.
just ask the questions. Oh, great, and you interact, and it's as simple as that.
Thank you.
Great question.
Mhm. Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to add one more thing that just came to mind. Chamber of Commerce is typically a great resource, and they're usually more than happy to connect business owners with other business owners because that's kind of their whole purpose for being. So I've had success reaching out to the chamber organizers and the president and just saying, hey, I'm looking to do this. Who should I talk to? And
Yeah,
they're like, here, talk to all these 5 people. Okay, great. Thanks. Uh,
exactly.
so yeah, this was awesome. I want to be mindful of your time and thank you for doing this. I really appreciate your expertise and everyone you can find Ryan in the Facebook group, in the book. We'll have him on again when we get to your chapter. And tell everyone where they can connect with you if they want to learn more about your programs.
Sure. So the easiest place to connect is my Facebook group. It's called The Expert Agent. So if you go to Facebook and type in The Expert Agent, you'll find there's a green logo. You can get into my world. We do webinars and we do training in there as well. If you want more information about our training program, we're relaunching our academy. So it's called the localexpertacademy.com. You can go to localexpertacademy.com and find out what the program's about. It's very affordable. We do monthly trainings. We're relaunching the Hyperlocal Nomination, which is our newsletter program, and that's going to be all included in that as well. So if anyone wants to check that out, you can join that. But Facebook is the best place to connect with me. I'm on there all the time and easy to engage with. So
Awesome. I
I
love it.
appreciate you having me on.
What's that?
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, of course. And if anyone wants more introvert coaching, we have our group coaching program called the Quiet Success Club. I also offer one-on-one business planning and 3-month intensives. And that's all we've got. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for being here. I think that's it. All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
And get the
Thank
book
you.
too. So if you don't
Get
have
it.
it.
Thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
y'all.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day. Happy
Thank you.
Easter, everybody.
You too.